Quem trabalhado aqui? Você. Muito tempo trabalhando aqui. Great. Here we are. Coffee brews in layers, which has to do in part with the acids in it, which are separating out. So I pour a little bit into each cup, go back to other cups instead of just filling up one at a time. And so I'll confuse the coffee demons.
This coffee has traveled more than 5,000 miles to get here, from a Brazilian farm to the north side of Chicago. But this brew is much more than a steaming hot drink. It's globalization in a cup, and Chicago entrepreneur Jeff Dreyfuss drinks it in deeply.
Oh, and move it around my mouth.
For Dreyfuss, globalization boils down to building relationships. Personal and business ties he's developing in Brazil give him access to the world's biggest coffee producer. Roughly 50% of all coffee is grown in Brazil. But for Dreyfuss, co-owner of Metropolis Coffee Company, a 4-year-old wholesaler and retailer with annual revenue of more than $2 million, buying, roasting, and selling coffee is about more than money.
What we want to do, Tony, my son who's in the business, and I, want to do is establish some very, very close relationships, not just what is known as relationship coffee, but relationships with coffee farmers, and not just with the farmer, with the owner, but with the pickers, with the labor force, with the communities, the larger circles.
These ties give him a direct relationship with a key supplier, but Dreyfuss also believes if he's interested in the well-being of Brazilians, they'll be interested in his. So he's developing a closer relationship with Fazenda Ambiental Fortaleza, a 2,000-acre organic coffee farm 3.5 hours north of Sao Paulo. He travels there to study Brazilian coffee, planting, picking, drying, sweeping, and cupping, the coffee version of wine tasting. Dreyfuss, a former linguistics professor who speaks 11 languages, including Javanese, Japanese, and yes, Portuguese, believes the ability to communicate in local tongues is critical.
Bom dia, me chamo Jeff. When you speak a language, you can find out differences that make a difference, such as how possibly to do something a little bit differently, problems that are not far from obvious in the farm, or if not in the farm, in the chain from the farm to collecting the coffee in larger bundles. Fazenda Ambiental Fortaleza coffee, FAF coffee. This is organic. You can see a lot of mottled color, brown. These were all dried naturally on the tree. And this is a beautiful year for this particular coffee. Taste is a major factor. Yeah, it trumps everything else. So if the place is organic, if people are wonderful, wonderful, exciting people with exciting ideas, but their coffee is noticeably lesser quality and flavor in all the variables you're looking at in buying a coffee, then you won't buy it, no matter how good your relationship is. Sama is over half, it's 60% FAF coffee.
While Brazil may represent a business ideal, it's also a key part of the profitable company's bottom line. Beans from FAF make up 1/5 of Metropolis's total annual coffee buy, and demand is growing. Brazilian coffee is a key ingredient in 2 of its top-selling blends, and it shows up in all of its espressos. But for Dreyfuss, it all comes back to the people and the product on the other end of the branch.